Hey horror fans, welcome back to Room 237. Coming at you with another review of a recent horror film over the last decade as I still play catch up. And this is one that I saw in theaters and is easily one of the best of the last decade. One of the best of its genre, especially of the last decade. One of two examples of the whole genre that I like from the last decade. One of the best reviewed, possibly of all time, and has had an ever-growing universe ever since, and that is James Wan's The Conjuring. This is a great movie. I'm sure some people are probably tired of hearing it, like, Conjuring's overrated. I still enjoy it very much. This one actually was not written by Lee Whannell. It was written by Chad and Carrie Hayes. Stars Patrick Wilson and Vera Farmiga as Ed and Lorraine Warden, real-life demonologists from the 50s, 60s, 70s, I think all the way up until, I think Ed passed away some years ago. Lorraine just passed. Lorraine passed away April of last year, April 18th of last year. Ed passed away in 2006. But they investigated over 10,000 homes and buildings. Often debunked a lot of places from being haunted. They were involved with the Amityville house. Of course, the famed Annabelle doll. They do have their museum or collection room of artifacts from each case down in the basement. They were very strong partners in marriage and in their work all the way up until Ed's death. Well played by Wilson and Farmiga. And this film looks at them doing a case at a farmhouse with the Perrin family in Harrisville, Rhode Island. Of course, it opens up with them doing the Annabelle case, which Annabelle looks nothing like she does in real life. Real life, she's like a Raggedy Ann doll. In this, and the shitty, boring as fuck, overrated spin-off. I only saw the first one. I've heard Annabelle Creation is better. I still don't care to see it. She looks like a horror movie doll. But, it opens up with that, and we see a little bit of their life with their daughter, and they go around to universities and give lectures. We get a little bit of the criticism through fan/hate mail of people calling them hacks and frauds, which is something they endured, but they never let it get to them. And the Perrin family is this husband and wife. The husband is played by Ron Livingston, who people will know from probably a lot of stuff. I know him from Office Space. He's Peter from Office Space. And Lily Taylor looks really familiar as the mom. The Haunting in 96. Okay. Public Enemies, 2009. Johnny Cash played John Dillinger. Being Flynn, a movie about the poet. Oh, she played Verna Sawyer in Leatherface. Okay. Anyway, they just got this old house out in the country, and they're experiencing some weird things. So, and when things start to get worse, they call the Warrens. And and even this cover, it's very subtle. This is what I think a haunted house movie should look like. Kind of reminds me of like The Exorcist, which some people are calling this, one of the best since The Exorcist. Same with Insidious. Justin Chang from Daily Variety, a sensationally entertaining old school freakout. Cindy Pearlman, Chicago Sun-Times, one of the scariest movies ever made. It's definitely one of the most effective. Again, like Insidious, it doesn't have fake out scares. It doesn't have the really loud music sting boo scares that are just cheap and startling and not scary at all. When it does do stuff like that, it is either really creepy or really frightening. Like the lady on top of the dresser when the camera just zooms right up to her with that, and she's just got white eyes and a fucked up face. One of the girls is played by, is it Joey King? Is that her name? Joey King, who played young Talia in Dark Knight Rises. She does a good job in here. The girls play this game called Hide and Clap. It's basically like hide and seek, but you're allowed to call for 3 claps at 2 claps at a time, and you follow the sound. That plays a big part in the film because one of the scares is, it's in the trailer. The mom gets shoved down the basement, and she's on the stairs, and it's dark. She has a match, and she hears someone say, do you want to play hide and clap? And as she's about to turn around, the hands just come out of the darkness. But, you get some really creepy moments, like when the daughter, Joey, played by Joey King, a couple instances she's laying in bed and she gets her foot tugged on, and there's this horrific smell. First time doesn't amount to much. The second time she's almost pulled off the bed, and she looks in the corner, and all we see is darkness. We can't make out anything, but she swears that she sees someone. She wakes up her sister, and it's this long scene with like it's looking right at us. Do you see it? So the sister goes over, walks to the corner, moves her arm around. It's like, there's no one here. Look, he's standing right behind you. And just as she's about to turn, the door shuts to total darkness. Even though we don't see anything, and no, the door shutting is not a jump scare. It's not like something from the It remake or any other Blumhouse film. Which, yeah, this is not Blumhouse. This is both New Line and Warner Brothers. Has Warner Brothers on the spine, so that's what I'm going with. Probably why it doesn't suck ass. James Wan and not Blumhouse. It's that perfect build to a scare, because you have this long, tense scene of darkness. Someone can see something we can't. We just have to project our own spooky thoughts into it. And then the door shuts, which shows that there was someone there. Birds keep flying into the window, snapping their necks. The dog is found dead. There's all these noises. one really creepy moment is the youngest daughter wants to play hide and clap with the mom, so they do. Oh, and also, you're blindfolded. That's also why you have to listen for the claps. She goes in a room, and out of this closet, we see hands. So she follows it, and she looks around, doesn't feel anything, takes the blindfold off, and then the daughter comes in from the other room. So it's just eerie, creepy moments like that that really make this movie work. As far as the Warrens go, it doesn't show it. It doesn't really explain it, except for at the end. But apparently there was one. Hold on, I'm just. I'm just reading up on something. I actually just forgot I was making a video. Kind of out of it today. Throughout the film, there's this subplot of how at one point there was this exorcism where Lorraine had a vision and she went into some sort of spell, and it was quite dangerous and freaked Ed the fuck out. So he's been very protective of her, making sure it doesn't happen again, but she's driven for this kind of work. And towards the end, it's been a while since I've seen this, but after watching Insidious, I was like, I'm pretty sure I remember enough of this to do a review. Now I'm starting to think, fuck, you probably should have watched it again. But, well, to build it back up, the reason why there's that noose with the shadow of someone hanging is because at one point there was a witch named Bathsheba who lived there, who was found sacrificing her 7-day-old baby in front of the fireplace to Satan. Then she climbed to the tree, proclaimed her love to Satan, and hanged herself. And cursed all those who would try to take her land. So then people who either lived in the house or lived really, really nearby or were on her property have all died or committed suicide, mostly committed suicide. That's within the Warrens' research before they go to the house. And they go there with, a team of investigators that work all the equipment. But the mom, the main entity is this Bathsheba, the Satanist witch who hanged herself. That's the one that we see on top of the dresser when the girls walk in this room, and on top of the dresser, which seems to be sort of the eye of the storm of this, for this entity. A lot of activity happens there. She's laying on top of it, and this creepy, and the camera just pans right up to her. And then she jumps down and attacks the girls. This is when the mom's trapped in the cellar. But the mom becomes possessed and wants to kill one of the daughters down in the basement. And one hell of a climax. I mean, it works. It's as effective as the exorcism in the original Exorcist. It's probably the best film with an exorcism since the original Exorcist. Not Emily Rose, not the last Exorcism 1 or 2. Or the only other movie that's like that, where the exorcism of that person, the exorcist of this person. the taking, the happening, the whatever to all these people. The only one I actually liked was the taking of Deborah Logan, which was a glacially paced film. But I liked it. I think those films are just overdone. Emily Rose, I didn't really care for. Last Exorcism, I really did not like. And the thing, it's a risky exorcism, because of course the Vatican has to approve. Ed is not authorized, but because of the risk of the family's child, Ed just decides, and for the protection of Lorraine, decides to do it himself, even without the authorization. They even ask the Vatican about having it done, and they say it's not, they can't authorize it because none of the girls were baptized, and there's a lot of conditions for why they don't want to. And another reason why Ed wants to do it is because their daughter Judy is attacked by Bathsheba at their own home. Because this movie, same with Insidious, a lot of people say, why don't people just leave? Like, just leave the house. Insidious, they do. And it follows them. Here, the family even says, we're a family of 7. Like, where can we go? And even Ed tells him, like, that doesn't always work. His analogy is, sometimes a haunting is like stepping in gum. So you carry it with you. And here, it's, the one of a threatening presence. It can go wherever it wants. It even goes to the Warrens' house and attacks their daughter with a creepy scene, because the daughter goes down to the basement with all the artifacts. And it's already established that the Annabelle doll's in this glass case that says absolutely do not touch or remove. And the Bathsheba is just sitting in this rocking chair, combing its hair, like in the corner, back turned, and it's very creepy looking. And that's the thing. Just like with Insidious, James Wan knows what works. He's a lifelong horror fan, especially of the genre, haunted house, possession. He knows what's scary. He knows what will scare audiences. So that's why everything in both Insidious and this, I happen to like this a bit more. Oh, and also, even though it says based on the true case files of the Warrens, around this time, between 2010 through 13 or 14, which this was 13, there was all these based on true events, haunted house and possession movies that were just so bullshit. This one's actually good. That every scare, it's not a jump scare. If it is, it's earned. Everything that's meant to be scary looks really creepy. It's all effective. The exorcism is a success, and I do like the ending when the Warrens get home and they're left a message saying that they were approved to perform the exorcism. And then in the background, off screen, we hear about their next case that they should go check out, which is a house in Long Island. Which, when I saw that in theaters back in 2013, I got excited because I was like, that's Amityville. They went to the Amityville house. It's in Long Island. Surprisingly, they probably haven't done it because it's Amityville, and it would probably be treated as a remake or another sequel. But I was just, this guy with the Warrens needs to do an Amityville film. There's like 11 or 12 Amityville films. Only the original is good. I used to like the remake. Now I think it's crappy. I've heard 2 is okay as a separate film, but the rest, just from what I've seen and heard, like 1 is even about a dollhouse. Like, could you imagine James Wan doing an Amityville film? That would be impressive. That would be as good, if not better, than the original. The original's not even that great of a film. I just think it's classic. It's a classic haunted house film. But, this I thought was a step up from Insidious. This movie just oozes with atmosphere of spooky house, out in the country atmosphere. The exterior and interior of the house, anything you would want for a haunted house flick. The music is great. The tension, every scare is earned, whether it be a quick thing like a door shutting, which in Paranormal Activity is a cheap jump scare that's undeserved. When this film does it, there's a scary, tense scene leading up to that makes it work. When we see the ghosts with the scary faces, they're actually creepy, full of creepy moments. Great performances. I liked the chemistry between Patrick Wilson and Vera Farmiga. I really like Vera Farmiga as an actress anyway. Even the child actors, especially Joey King, I thought she did a good job. And this movie was a monstrous hit. I mean, it got wonderful reviews, rave reviews. Made on a $20 million budget, but it made $319.5 million. That is a staggering fucking hit. And that's probably why there's 8 films in the universe already. Or going to be this year. Because we had the sequel, Conjuring 2, which I also enjoyed. Way fucking more than Insidious 2. This year on September 11th, 2020, we have Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It, which will not be directed by Wan, sadly. But we have 3 Annabelle films. Why? I don't fucking know. The first one sucked. Then there's The Nun, which I saw the trailer to and was like, okay, it's Annabelle but with a nun. Don't care. What makes Annabelle and The Nun work is just the openings of these films. Just the little shorts. Either there's 2 of those or the second one is coming out soon. But, yeah. Of all the paranormal films of the last decade to 15 years that I am just so sick to death of, didn't even like in the first place before it became a plague, along with reboots, remakes, and sequels, this is the best one, I feel. This is the best one. I consider The Witch to be kind of different. And I do like the Witch a lot more. But this and Insidious, as far as the haunted house, possession films that just plagued the genre of the late 2000s, all 2010s. I loved this movie. Great time in theaters. Still think it holds up. Still effective and creepy and scary. This is how you do modern haunted house films. James Wan is great. But that is The Conjuring. Thank you for watching.